3 months after getting engaged, I nearly died doing what was supposed to be a routine fibroid surgery. I stopped breathing. I received 8 pints of blood, and a month later, doctors told me that surgery had permanently damaged my uterus. This is how I went from being engaged to this. And this is the full story of what really happened.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake
Hi lovelies, thank you for being here. This video contains sensitive medical details, so viewers' discretion is advised. I have shared part of the story before, but never like this. Before the surgery. If you have been following our journey, you will know my husband and I got engaged on July 29th, 2021. It was joyful, hopeful, full of excitement about our future. But during premarital counseling, we were advised to run fertility checks. That's when we discovered 2 things. My fallopian tubes were blocked and my fibroid had returned. 8 years earlier, at age 27, I had already undergone surgery to remove fibroids. I thought that chapter was closed, but they grew back. This time, they were affecting my kidney and ureter. I had already needed a ureter stent in 2019 to relieve pressure. My husband knew all of this before he proposed. He knew my medical history. He knew the risks, and he still went ahead. The decision. After the engagement, we visited several fertility clinics. Every single doctor told us the same thing. First, remove the fibroid, then attempt IVF. Because IVFs are common among Black women, we believe it would be best to do the surgery in Nigeria before relocating. We trusted the doctor, we trusted the process. We believed this was step 1 towards motherhood. We had no idea it would become a fight for my life. Surgery day, September 2021. I checked into the clinic. The night before the surgery, my hemoglobin was low, so I received 2 pints of blood. The next morning, I walked into the operating theater, calm, prepared, hopeful. I chose spinal anesthesia because I didn't want to be put fully to sleep. 15 minutes into this procedure, the surgical table collapsed while I was open. I remember sliding. I remember confusion. And I remember feeling pain, not pressure, pain. I told them I could feel it. They told me to relax. That is the last thing I remembered. The near-death experience. Later, I was told I lost a massive amount of blood. They transfused 4 more pints. At some point, I saw clouds. I felt like I was floating. I genuinely believe I was leaving my body. I could hear my mom calling my name from outside the theater. She was praying, calling me. And somehow, I came back. The surgery lasted hours. 34 fibroids were removed, but the real battle began afterward. The night I couldn't breathe. After surgery, I suddenly couldn't breathe. I began gasping. They placed me on oxygen immediately. My husband was on the phone when it happened. He heard me struggling. He called the doctor back urgently. That night, we were fighting for my life. The next day, they ran test after test. Because it was COVID period, they also tested for COVID. It was negative. But they discovered that I had developed severe infection. There were serious concerns about the condition and hygiene standard of the clinic environment. And shortly after the procedure, my body began reacting aggressively. I had already received 6 pints of blood, then 2 more, making 8 in total. My hands and feet swelled. I was losing weight rapidly. I looked like a shadow of myself. Each week brought new symptoms: rashes, weakness, fluid build-up. A couple of weeks later, I was discharged, not because I was fully healed, but because my sister-in-law had given birth the very same day I had my surgery. My mother was trying to take care of us both. She was going back and forth between a newborn and a daughter who had nearly lost her life. It was overwhelming for her. So I went home to continue recovery. But the battle wasn't over. My surgical wound began leaking. There was a strong odor. They reopened it and drained infected fluid, but it refused to close. At that point, I stopped returning to the clinic. A nurse began coming to my home twice a day. She would open up the wound, clean it, pack it with honey and gauze. And every time she did, I was reminded how close I had come to losing everything. I could see inside my body. At that point, I wasn't thinking about babies. I was just praying to survive. The spiritual battle. October passed. The wound was still open. I fasted. I prayed morning, afternoon, and night because I realized something. This was no longer just recovery. This was survival. I joined online prayer platform morning and night. I meditated. Dunsi Oyenkon's song, "Just Breathe Your Name Upon Me," kept me through this dark season. It got to a point I had to start really trusting God for my healing. And by November, through the divine intervention of God, and miraculously, the wound began to close. The Netherlands. My husband applied for a visa for me to come to the Netherlands. He said he couldn't watch me fade away because he felt I was not eating properly. When I arrived in the Netherlands, I was still weak. I even caught COVID while traveling. But he cared for me. He cleaned up after me. He fed me. He restored me. And in that season, I knew I had married the right man. And I was right in saying yes to him. After 3 months of beautiful vacation with my husband in the Netherlands, I returned back to Nigeria. Then we got married. Afterwards, I finally relocated to the Netherlands. The devastating discovery. Months later, after further medical evaluations in the Netherlands, we did a hysteroscopy. That's when doctors discovered extensive internal scarring, damage to my endometrium lining. The surgery had gone deeper than it should have. There weren't enough LD lining left for an embryo to implant. The surgery meant to prepare me for motherhood had taken it from me. That was the moment I understood I would not be able to carry my own child. What this season taught me. This journey was traumatic, but it revealed things I will never forget. It revealed the strength of my marriage, the depth of my husband's love, the power of faith, and the grace that kept me alive. I almost died, but I survived, and this was only the beginning of our story, because what came next was something we never imagined. If you came here from TikTok, comment, I am here. I just want to see you and thank you personally for coming over. And in the next episode, I'll be sharing how we made the decision that changed everything. If you are going through a dark season right now, please hear me when I say this. You are not alone. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy truly comes in the morning. Thank you, lovelies, for listening, for supporting, and for holding space for our story. I'll see you in the next episode.